Good afternoon. It's just 2 o'clock. We're just going to wait another minute or so so we can get everyone who's registered joining, and we'll start the presentation shortly. Okay, it's just after 2, so we will get started. Good afternoon and welcome everyone. My name is Tyler Stacey-Holmes, and I am the Member Services Coordinator for Green Key Global, and I welcome you for being here today. Let's take a look at what we'll be covering in today's webinar. So we're going to take a look at a Green Key Global overview, the benefits of being a Green Key Global member, online travel agent and business travel agent recognition, the validity of sustainable claims, how the whole program works. We'll take a look at the assessment and the audit process with a walkthrough. We'll talk a bit about Green Key Global developments, and I'll be sure to leave time at the end for your questions. If you do have any questions during the presentation, please put them in the Q&A section and I'll get to them at the end of the presentation. So Green Key Global has been in the sustainability industry for the past 30 years. We were established in 1994 by the Hotel Association of Canada, and we're the only certification created by hoteliers for hoteliers. So we have a very unique understanding of the hotel industry and what goes on at the property level. Green Key Global is a credible leading sustainability certification for hotels and event spaces in North America. And I'd also like to take a moment to mention our partner, One Tree Planted. Green Key Global plants a tree for every member with our charity partner, One Tree Planted. And I'm happy to tell you that this year so far, we've planted nearly 200 trees with our partner. So that's very exciting, and thanks to our members. So let's talk a little bit about the benefits of being a Green Key Global member. One of the benefits is that you increase occupancy at your property. You do this because we share your information when you become certified with online travel agents and business travel agents to help promote your sustainability efforts to your guests and future guests. You also save money as being a member of Green Key Global. The reason for this is a lot of the initiatives that you'll undertake for sustainability at your property will have cost saving output. For example, if you were to change all of your incandescent bulbs with LED light bulbs, you would save money on your electricity bill over time. And also, we help you reduce your carbon footprint, which is really one of the most important benefits that we offer. We offer a rigorous audit process to ensure that you are being certified at the highest level. We're a low-cost program compared to our competitors. We're constantly updating our programs, our assessments, and audits to ensure that we're offering you best in class. We're an easy-to-use and straightforward program, and we're GSTC recognized. As I mentioned, we work with online travel agents and business travel agents to ensure that you're being recognized for your sustainability initiatives. We do that by uploading your data to these online travel agents so that they can list your property as sustainable on their websites. So this is just a small example of some of the OTAs and BTAs that we work with. So here are some statistics that we wanted to share with you. So the change in the hospitality industry towards a more sustainable future is really being driven by a few key areas. That's corporate sustainability targets, So companies such as Pfizer and TD Bank are now demanding that all of their business travelers stay at sustainable properties, and we're seeing the same sort of requests coming from government level as well. There's brand commitments that are driving this change, brands that are requiring their properties to become sustainable or have a sustainable certification by a certain date and time. And customer preference is also really driving this change within the industry. All of this change, of course, is being driven by the climate crisis and the global climate agenda. So some statistics about sustainable travel. 71% want to travel more sustainably over the coming 12 months. 81% say sustainable travel is important to them, while 70% are more likely to choose a sustainable accommodation, and 57% would feel better staying in accommodation with sustainable certification. So let's take a look at how the program works. So there's an assessment and an audit, and we'll take a look first at the assessment. So these are the areas that the assessment questions cover. It's a self-assessment that you do at your property. The questions cover areas such as environment, society, and economy. Within those three sections are a variety of topics in which the questions cover. So some of these topics in which you'll be asked questions during the self-assessment are energy and water conservation. So these may be questions that have to do with the type of light bulbs that you use. For water conservation, they could be things like if you have low flow toilets, low flow shower heads, or aerators on your faucets. We ask questions about solid and hazardous waste management, indoor air quality, like your HVAC system, and if windows in the rooms open, community outreach, building infrastructure, land use and environmental management, and three new sections to our assessment are environmental social governance, corporate social responsibility, and regenerative tourism. So all of these questions fall under 5 key performance areas that correspond to areas within your property. So we ask questions revolving around corporate environmental management, housekeeping, food and beverage operations, conference and meeting facilities, and engineering. And let's just say you're a limited service property and you don't offer food and beverage operations, or you don't offer conference and meeting facilities. You can opt out of those two sections, and your assessment will be scored appropriately and weighted appropriately so that you're not losing any points by opting out of those sections if you don't have them within your property. But if you do offer food and beverage and conference and meeting facilities, then you will have to include them when you complete your self-assessment. So based on the results of your comprehensive environmental self-assessment, lodging facilities are awarded a rating between 1 to 5 keys, with 5 being the highest attainable. So to give you an example of what a 1 key looks like, that's a hotel that has taken first steps to reduce environmental impacts by analyzing its operations and identifying opportunities for improvement. While a 5 green key property is a hotel that exemplifies the highest standards of environmental and social responsibility throughout all areas of operation. And we celebrate all levels of keys because it means that you have started your sustainability journey and you're working hard to ensure that you have sustainability initiatives at your property. So regardless of which level you end up at, it is definitely worth celebrating and sharing your accomplishments with your guests and with your future guests. So this is an overview of the certification process. So it starts when you register online, then you move on to taking the assessment. As I mentioned, the assessment covers these 5 key areas that correspond with your property. Once you've completed the assessment, answered all the questions, and uploaded the necessary documents, you submit your assessment and you receive your preliminary system evaluation. So essentially, you receive your preliminary score between 1 and 5 keys. You'll also receive a score improvement report. This report is very valuable. It lets you know what key level you're at, how close you are to obtaining the next highest key level, and which questions you could change your answers to obtain that next highest key level. So it's a really great report to have. You can go back into your assessment once and update your answers to try to obtain a higher key level and submit your assessment, at which time it's time to move on to the audit process. So we offer two types of audits. We offer a virtual audit and an in-person audit. The virtual audit is $500, and it's conducted much the same way we're talking today over a web call like Zoom or Teams, where the auditor will be on one end of the call and you at your property will be on the other end. So you would require a cell phone or a tablet or a laptop to walk the auditor through your property. They'll guide you through your property and have you show them the areas that correspond to the questions that you answered on your assessment. We also offer an in-person assessment. An in-person audit. That audit is $2,500. The cost includes accommodation and travel. That audit takes approximately 8 hours to complete, and you'll have the auditor there on site with you, walking through your property, taking a look at the areas of your property that correspond to questions that you answered on the assessment. Both audits are just as thorough. We are recommending that all of our members go with the virtual audit because it has zero carbon footprint. And if you're a legacy member, if you've been a member with us for several years, this year your virtual audit is free of charge. So you have to book your virtual audit in 2024 to take advantage of this promotion. So once you have selected the type of audit you want, you request your audit. The audit happens, and within approximately 10 business days after your audit being completed, you'll receive your official eco rating certification between 1 and 5 keys. You'll also receive a performance report from the auditor that lets you know how you did on your audit. Then the final step really is to market your efforts, to let your guests and your future guests know about your sustainability initiatives at your property. And I'll provide you with a link today to a set of resources that we have on our website that give you tools to help you market your efforts. I'll also be providing you with a copy of today's presentation that I'll email to all of you following today's presentation. So we also work with several brands, our MSA partnerships. We work with several brands. If you are part of one of our brand partnerships, then you have access to exclusive benefits and unique internal green program alignment help within the assessment. And I'll be showing you the assessment shortly, and I'll point out where you would find that internal green program alignment help if you happen to be a brand. So now let's take a look at the process walkthrough. So it starts with you going to the members area of our website, greenkeyglobal.com, and clicking on the members area and signing in with your login credentials. Once you log in, you'll be on the dashboard. As you can see from the circled area, you'll want to complete your Green Key Eco Rating Assessment, so you'll click on Get Started. If you are a returning member who has previously completed an assessment in the past, then this will be the first screen you see when you click on Get Started. If you click on View Assessment, you'll be able to view your last taken assessment. But what you'll want to focus on is retaking the assessment, which opens the new current version 4 assessment for you to start the process. So when you click on Retake Assessment, you'll get a little blurb that says that your request to reopen your self-assessment has been successful. You just need to wait approximately a minute for that to update in the system and refresh your page. And then what you'll see is this page. And if you're new to the program, this is the first page you'll see when you click on Get Started on your Eco Rating Certificate. You'll see a video, a self-assessment walkthrough video, so a handy video that you can watch that tells you about the process you're about to undertake. There's also some links here and some great information about who should complete the self-assessment. We recommend that you form a green team whenever possible at your property level, getting someone from each area from your property that corresponds to the assessment. So for example, having someone who's in charge of food and beverage answer the food and beverage section of the assessment, having someone from housekeeping help you answer the questions from the housekeeping area of the assessment, and so on. There's also links here for how to complete the assessment, some ideas on what to do post-assessment, but what you'll want to do is click on Begin Assessment to start the process. So this is an example of what the assessment looks like. You can see across the top here are the various tabs that correspond to the various areas of the assessment. For this example, I wanted to show you a few things that are on the assessment, a few tools actually. So the very first question asks if your property has a sustainability plan. And it's a mandatory question. So you're required to answer yes, and you're required to upload a document of your sustainability plan. So we actually, in this little pop-up box beside mandatory, we actually provide you with a sustainability policy toolkit, which has a template and a how-to on how to use the template. So we don't require you to create every document that we need for proof on your assessment from scratch. Many times we'll provide you with the tools. So be sure to check out the little pop-up box to see if we've provided you with a tool or a template for that particular question. The other area that you'll want to pay attention for tips is over on the right-hand side, the little person icon. These icons will often provide extra information about the question, so it may provide a definition, or as I mentioned earlier, where we have brand alignment, you could also find tips here from your actual corporate office that align with your internal green strategies that will help guide you towards how to answer the question. At the bottom of each of the tabs, you'll have these three buttons: Save Progress, Submit Assessment, and Print section. So save progress is obviously really important. It's important that you're saving your progress as you're moving through the assessment. Multiple people can be in the assessment at once, entering answers for different sections. It's just always really important that they're saving their progress as they go along. The print section is also very handy if you wanted to print a specific section to hand it to a person on your property who's in charge of that area, so they can have a copy of the questions available to them. That makes things easier. And then, of course, once you're completed answering all your questions and uploading all the necessary documents, you'll want to click on Submit Assessment. So once you've submitted your assessment, our system automatically lets you know if there are any errors or any omissions. So if you've forgotten to answer a question, or if you have forgotten to upload a document, this is the area and this is the time when the system will notify you of that. For this example, I forgot to include the name of the person who completed the housekeeping section. I also forgot to include the job title of the person who completed that section. So I can just go back to the housekeeping tab, enter this information, and submit again to eliminate the error. So once your assessment is submitted and without errors, it's time to select the type of audit you wish to obtain for your property. I forgot to mention that the assessment and the audit process only need to be completed once every 3 years. So for an example, if you were to complete the assessment and audit this year, you wouldn't be required to complete it again until 2027. So you'd select the type of audit that you wish to have for your property. And again, we're recommending that all of our members go with the virtual audit. And if you are a legacy member who's been a member with us for several years, this year your virtual audit is free of charge. So you select the type of audit you have, and you pay for your audit. You pay for the invoice, unless if you're a legacy member, your invoice will be $0. And then it's time to request your audit. So this is the final step. When you click Request Audit, this puts you in the queue with our audit partners at Control Union, and they'll contact you within 90 days, approximately 90 days, to schedule your audit for a time that's convenient to you. A few other areas in the dashboard I just wanted to point out to you. Download your certificate is where you come once you're certified to download your official eco rating certificate. We also have a Market Your Efforts. I mentioned that we have a lot of really useful tools online to help you market your efforts. There's some guest-facing materials, some in-room materials, and later this year we'll be launching some in-room videos for guests as well, some advertisements. And this is also where you'll come to improve your rating. So as I mentioned, you're only required to complete the assessment and audit once every 3 years. So during that 3-year period when you're not required to update your assessment or audit, improve your rating is a great area to come to the website to find out ways where you can continue to work on your sustainability efforts and improve upon your sustainability initiatives. So how do we keep pace with sustainable evolution? So back in 1994, our assessment aligned with the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. We aligned with 7 of those goals. But the latest version of the assessment, the new version 4 assessment, now aligns with all 17 of the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. Some developments at Green Key Global. We now offer a rigorous online process, and the audit must be completed before certification is granted. Our user experience has been improved. It's more interactive and more intuitive. It's much easier to use. We've upgraded the assessment. As I mentioned, we have new areas, CSR and ESG, diversity and community. And we also have an expanded vetted vendor program. Vendors are now required to sign a mandatory code of conduct. This ensures that the services and products that they offer are indeed sustainable. And we'll be launching an upcoming shop feature with exclusive Green Key member discounts in the future. And I wanted to talk a bit about a few developments that we're working on, a few exciting developments. We have our payback calendar or our return on investment calculator, sorry. This calculator is going to be a very useful tool. Let's say for your property, you're considering updating your dishwasher. You want to replace your old dishwasher with a new dishwasher. This calculator will allow you to enter information about the new dishwasher, the costs, its efficiencies, and on the output, you'll get a calculation of your return on investment. How much time will it take before you've saved your money on that capital investment you've made? So that's going to be a really great tool that launches in the very near future. We're also launching an enhanced education and webinars series. The weekly Wednesday webinars is definitely part of that improvement where we're bringing you more information on a more regular basis and a variety of topics about sustainability. We'll also be upgrading our meetings program, and there'll be more of that later in the year. We're working with our data partners, Aptum, to create a corporate dashboard. This dashboard will be an area where brands can go to run reports on their properties to see how their properties are doing as far as their sustainability initiatives. It will also allow you to compare yourself to other properties, other like-sized properties or properties in your area to see how they're doing as far as their sustainability efforts. So it will be a very handy tool to provide you with a lot of detailed information. We're also launching a carbon accounting tool, and there'll be more information about that a little later in the year. We're also very excited to be launching a carbon neutral event certification. This carbon neutral event certification will allow you at the property level to get a specific event certified as carbon neutral. So whether you have an event planner on site or you do events on site, this will be something that you can market to ensure that the events that you're offering at your property are indeed carbon neutral. And also later this year, we'll be introducing GKG accreditation. So as you can see, there are a lot of really exciting benefits coming up in 2024. So now I'd like to open the floor up to any questions you may have. As I mentioned, if you do have a question, just enter it in the Q&A section at the bottom or at the top of your screen, and I will answer those questions in just a moment. I'll just give you a few moments if anybody does have questions to type those in. So it doesn't look like we have any questions yet, which is fine. I did just want to mention again, I think I did mention it, but I just want to be clear that the assessment and the audit only need to be renewed once every 3 years. So once you complete the assessment and audit, for example, this year, you wouldn't be required to take that assessment and audit again until 2027. You already have your 2024 Green Key certificate. If I register for the assessment this year, will it be for 2025 or this year? Rosalind, I would have to take a look at your property to be sure to give you the right information for that question. Um, if you've already completed the latest version for assessment, then you are already certified and you wouldn't have to retake it. But if you're on a previous version of the assessment, then you would be required to take the new version 4 assessment this year. So that's why I would just need to take a look at your specific property. So I will be sending an email out to all of you following the presentation today with a copy of the presentation as well as a resources link. So Rosalind, if you want to just respond to me to that email and provide me with your property name, I will absolutely be able to give you a bit more clarity on that answer. It's a previous assessment. I've already registered. So if it's a previous version of the assessment, then yes, you would be required this year to take the version 4 assessment. All of our members are required this year to update to the version 4 assessment. Wonderful. Uh, Wonderful. Good to hear. So it doesn't look like there's any other questions at this time. So thank you so much for joining me today. If you do have any questions, feel free to reach out to me via the email I sent today, or you can get in touch with me by emailing me or calling me as well. I'm always available to help you out and to help answer your questions. I hope that you all have a wonderful day, and thank you again for joining me. Take care.